What's up, Packer Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Packers Everywhere podcast. I hope you're all having an amazing day, an amazing offseason, an amazing week. Hopefully this is up on the weekend, so happy weekend, everybody. It should be up on Saturday or Friday night, depending how much work I put in tonight. Anyway, today we're going to be breaking down why the Green Bay Packers keep failing come January. The January curse, the San Francisco 49ers curse, whatever you want to call it. It's a reoccurring problem for Green Bay, and it's not getting any better. The signs of improvement are just not there. So today we're going to be breaking down exactly what happened this year and what happened in previous years, and how we can fix it going forward. Now, I'm going to start by saying the Packers have had, yes, many postseason heartbreaks in the last, I'd say, 15 years since the last Super Bowl. However, there are many reasons for this, one of them being that we seem to always be in a position in the playoffs to get our heart broken, which is not always a bad thing. Obviously, you're not going to win it all every year. You're even not going to go to the Super Bowl. You might not win a playoff game every year. It truly is a blessing when you do get that opportunity every year to be in that position. But when you're also in that position so often, you've got to be able to break out and break through to the next level more than we have. Which has been honestly disappointing to see. Now, whether it's an elite quarterback, an elite running back, or a mediocre offense, or, a mediocre quarterback carving us up, it feels like throughout the years, the Green Bay Packers have consistently found ways to lose playoff games. I mean, we're the laughingstock of the league. Well, to the Bears at least. We're the laughingstock of the division. Well, the Vikings exist. Okay, let me rephrase that. We're the laughingstock of the Packers-Bears rivalry, which we haven't been for the last about 40 years. So that does not feel good right now. 21-3. Obviously, we should have won that game. There's plenty of reasons why we should have won that Packers and Bears wild card playoff game. I mean, obviously our best player, Micah Parsons, not being there kind of hurts, but I think everybody knows we would have won that game with Micah Parsons. But neither here nor there. The real problem lies on the fact that we were up 21-3 and couldn't get it done. And this is not the first time the Packers have had a lead or just came up short like that in a crucial playoff game where we've just choked it away. And it's been more recently that Matt LaFleur, especially under this Matt LaFleur coaching staff, that we've had more trouble with the lead than we have in the past with, say, Mike McCarthy. I'm sure you guys are feeling a sense of deja vu from all these playoff losses. I know I sure am. I mean, all I've known my whole life as a Packers fan, I'm 17 years old, has been playoff losses. No, I don't remember 2011, 2010. No, I don't remember 2010. I was 2 years old. I was born in 2008. All I've known is playoff heartbreak my whole life, whether it's been Seattle, we won against Arizona, Seattle, San Francisco about 4 different times, now Chicago. It's just always been heartbreaking for the Green Bay Packers, and something's got to give. Now, obviously, you can blame the defenses for this, and in previous years, yes, the defenses have been to blame. Specifically, Joe Barry, I think, cost us several games with those MVP Aaron Rodgers seasons that we had. We had a bend don't break defense, and that really didn't work in the playoff games, especially with the lead. Now, this year, we had a new coordinator, and I don't believe that his scheme was the problem. Obviously, he did have the classic Packers bend don't break big lead in the playoffs kind of defense. However, when you're playing without your crucial player in Micah Parsons, I believe that was the right scheme to use without a guy like Micah Parsons that can actually wreak havoc on the defense. You're kind of just hoping to limit them in how many points you can get without your defense being, at the elite level we know it can be and will be next year. And so for that reason, I'm not going to put any of the blame on Jeff Hafley, even though I think he's an excellent defensive coordinator. And I think we've got another good one in Jonathan Gannon, although he does kind of fit that bend don't break defense that Packers fans really are getting sick and tired of seeing that deja vu. And I think there's more of a sense of deja vu in who we hire as coordinators, because It's the same style. All I've heard from Eagles fans is that he is a good coordinator. However, he struggles with adjustments, and 2, he plays a lot of 3 deep safeties kind of look. So with that, it's going to look like Javon Bullard, Evan Williams, and Xavier McKinney for us, which is what we were already running, which is just fine. But at the same time, it makes me a little nervous how he's going to utilize them next year come playoff time when we're in that race again. Because you bet your left ass cheek will be right there breathing down every team's neck for that number 1 seed in the division and hopefully the number 1 seed in the NFC. If you all remember the one game when, yes, Micah Parsons was healthy and that we actually beat the Bears this year, not the ones we should have beat the Bears, like all the 2 other games. The last play where we had a crucial takeaway from the defense that actually won us the game. We played extremely aggressive man coverage. We blitzed multiple backers here, as you can see. And Keyshawn Nixon is playing more of a free safety look. And he has to realize that there's a tight end running a corner, and he actually bails with it in man coverage. He gives up a solid 4 or 5 yards of separation, and he actually uses his athleticism to undercut that football and win the game for us, which I think is something that we need to utilize more. We don't use that super aggressive scheme very often in crucial moments. We kind of just, a typical Packers defense there, kind of just sits back and plays, maybe we play cover 1, maybe we blitz 5, maybe we blitz 6 if we're really feeling risky, but I think we blitzed 6 on that play. I'm not going to say the other number, but I think we blitzed 6 players on that play, which I think was extremely crucial for us in that win. I loved Jeff Hafley's scheme, and if Jonathan Gannon can bring a similar bend-don't-break scheme for most of the game, and then also when push comes to shove is willing to, maybe put in a few more chips and go all in for the win, then I think that's the kind of coordinator we need that'll win us lots of games. Because typically the Joe Barry style of defense has brought us a lot of soft zone cushions on 3rd and long that just allow for a lot of easy dropout completions or 15 to 20 yard digs over the middle. I remember distinctively Caleb Williams. I think he may have I don't know if he overthrew it or not, but I remember that one play that we just sat in a zone and I think maybe we rushed 3 without Micah Parsons in the game we lost, or maybe it was a playoff game. And Caleb Williams just threw an absolute strike over the middle of the field to DJ Moore, and he was just wide open, ran behind the linebackers, below the safeties. It's like playing Madden. Like, you kind of just know where to throw the ball. And I hate when our secondary isn't allowed to utilize their talent, especially when we had an elite secondary. And we really do have an elite secondary still with Evan Williams and Xavier McKinney. There is no excuse for us saying, well, we have bad corners, we can't stop the passing game. Well, we have 2 of the best safeties in the league, and I think we're going to go draft a corner. So, in theory, on paper, we should have one of the best defenses in the league next year when Micah Parsons comes back, if we can draft well next year. There's obviously a huge disconnect between the super talented defensive fronts we've had with guys like Za'Darius and Preston Smith in their primes, and now I'm kind of going off of what I can remember for myself here because I'm a younger guy. But I'm sure you guys can remember similar scenarios of deja vu from earlier in the 2010s or even before that, although this wasn't as much of a problem before. But I'm sure you guys can relate more specifically to a game that you guys have a lot of maybe trauma from as a Packer fan, where you're watching a super talented defensive front that's going to get home in about 3 seconds. And a secondary that has great cover guys like Jair Alexander that plays about 10 yards off the ball on 3rd and 10, where you're saying basically, or 3rd and 7, they play 10 yards off the ball. Where you're saying, well, basically we'll give you the first down. I just don't want to be beat over the top. And it's like, why? It's Jair Alexander there. There's no point. There's a disconnect when Jair knows the ball is going to get out in about 3 seconds, and he's being told to play 10 yards off the ball for absolutely no reason. It's nonsensical, and we need more aggression from our defense and our secondary in general. Now, does our current coaching staff have the aggressiveness to help win games? The defense is one problem. It's one side of the story, right? To all these blown leads. And I'm going to be a Jonathan Gannon believer until he can prove me wrong otherwise, because I have no other choice. I really am going to be awfully disappointed if it's the same story again and again. However, what I don't want to see again this year, more than anything, is a Matt LaFleur choke show like I saw in the wild card game last year, especially since we extended him. I've said it once, I'll say it again. I don't believe giving Matt LaFleur an extension was the right decision, because he has proven nothing to me as a fan that he is going to lead us to a Super Bowl in the near future. And obviously that's where our roster caliber is at right now, is Super Bowl contenders. And I don't believe he's the guy to bring us there. He hasn't shown that. I don't think we should have fired him. I think we should have seen what he can do next year and evaluate what we have in Matt LaFleur after his contract is actually up, and not extend him with a year left on his contract. That made no sense to me. And I believe one of the biggest, if not the biggest culprit in Green Bay to all these blown playoff leads is Matt LaFleur himself. Obviously, he's the guy in charge of overall play calling, even though he doesn't call the defensive plays. He's the guy that is in the locker room, kind of in the coach's ear, telling them how he wants the game called in certain situations. He's the leader. He's the guy everybody has to listen to at the end of the day, right? So if he says, hey, I want, if we're up 10 points with this amount of time left in the fourth quarter, this is how I want the defense to be called, right? He doesn't tell them what exactly to do, but he's going to tell them how he wants the defense called. And not only that, but his offense has also been ultra conservative as soon as he has a lead in just overall in the playoff games he's had. Other than that game against the Cowboys, I thought was his best game as a playoff play caller. However, that Cowboys defense was one of the worst I've ever seen in the playoffs, so that's neither here nor there. Matt LaFleur has consistently underperformed with MVP caliber quarterback play, and I'm not going to underplay it. He's had 2 years of MVP Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. He has had a chance to make the playoffs a third time with Aaron Rodgers playing at an elite level. He's had multiple years of MVP Jordan Love. And yet you heard it right. He's a year in, year out, he's a top 10, if not top 5 MVP candidate. There's no other way of looking at it. He plays really good football. And yet he has had usually some elite O-lines, elite offensive talent, hand-picked talent that he has had the opportunity to hand-pick, and yet he's still done nothing to prove that he can utilize it and at least get us back to an NFC Championship game with Jordan Love. I mean, that would be the bare minimum to me. I don't like his 3rd and 10 we're going to call an end around, or 2nd and 10 we're going to call an end around. It's similar to that Kevin Patullo, Saquon Barkley, up the middle, Saquon Barkley, up the middle, AJ Brown deep ball, you know what I'm talking about. He kind of calls games like that, and it's really, really annoying as a Packers fan to watch him just call plays like he's a Madden player, like he's my little brother on Madden. I don't have a little brother, but if I did, I'm sure he'd play somewhat like Matt LaFleur did. All that being said, we're at a crossroads as a franchise. Whether we can get the job done with some of the talent we have, obviously no first round pick this year or next year, because of the Micah Parsons trade, we've kind of put our chips in the table, and our GM, who I love, Brian Gutekunst, has put all of his chips in the table and pretty much said, we're going all in. Matt, we're giving you the tools to go all in. And, well, it was Jeff Hafley, now it's Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon, we're giving you the tools to go all in. Go get us a Super Bowl, right? And I don't believe Matt LaFleur is the guy to bring us to a Super Bowl. I would love for him to prove me wrong. Unfortunately, I'm not a super big fan of it. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for one more season, but after this season on his new contract, I will be the first guy to clamor for his head to be on the chopping block, because I'm not going to sit here and watch my favorite team every year disappoint in the playoffs, because that's not Green Bay Packers football. And unfortunately, it has been recently, but at the end of the day, that hasn't been Green Bay Packers football for about the past 30 years. And I would like to see it continue in the tradition that it has been, which is winning. And that is what we need to do in Green Bay more than anything. And I think we've prioritized too many other things over winning, which is ultimately the cure-all to all your problems in the NFL. Thanks so much for watching. If you've made it this far, you're amazing. I appreciate each and every single one of you that watches my videos. I love talking about football. I hope I could do this for a living someday. That would be my dream. And if you guys haven't already, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. Make sure to comment your thoughts on exactly what you do if you were Brian Gutekunst or Matt LaFleur this offseason, how you want to see the Packers organization changed. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Without further ado, I won't take any more of your time. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.